Morning, everyone. This is Trend Follower this side, and it's that time of the week. Today, we'll plan some of the zones, some of the biases, some of the reasoning behind those biases. We'll discuss those. I hope you had a great week last week. For me, it was a tough one because I think if you're following my Twitter account, you may know I missed a small detail, which kind of didn't help with my bias and missed a trade. And then went into some CAD names according to bias and plan. That was chopping so much, so didn't go as planned. But it is what it is. Sometimes you miss things, but followed the plan, so I'm definitely happy about that. So let's do something good this week, right? So before we start, I would like to go with before we start, I have to tell you this video may be long, and the reason is because the signals are very strong, and I will discuss. It will make sense in some time, but at the same time, that means more discussion, right? So if you want just the trade ideas, feel free to look at the chapters of the video and skip forward. But I truly believe learning is necessary, and you need to understand the reasoning behind biases, right? Having said that, let's look at the news. Let's start with that. I think the most important news is NZD rate statement, which is coming on Tuesday. So NZD names, I would ideally mm, either try to get it on Monday, but that's kind of tough with USD and GBP news. So I want to see how NZD behaves. I have a feeling about something, and I will go with it. But apart from that, then there is Euro holidays later, so Euro may be choppy later in the week. Start USD choppy, right? So we may have to be careful around that. End of the week, something really important, which is the core PC and price index. This is damn important, guys. Also, one thing to remember is this is like the last week of the month. I was thinking whatever happened this previous week would happen this week. But we plan, and sometimes I was waiting for all this action that happened this week, but I had a feeling it would happen uh, this week, but it happened last week. What do I mean by that? DXY weakness. There's no doubt it had to happen. I thought maybe just one more week. I was thinking that it may come here and then we start falling. Didn't happen. Great fall here. All right, so let's start with DXY, the most important one this week, because this week we'll focus a lot on USD weakness. The first and most important priority is there are two major signals, right? Which is USD weakness and JPY strength. Uh, Having said that, a part of me is not able to trust this JPY strength. Like JPY strength, fine, but like what I mean is, ideally, according to the monthly trend, we should have seen CHF strength, and we didn't see that. So I have a feeling at some points that maybe this not manipulation per se, but that it just means that maybe it's not such a big move on other names. On USD, yes, but on other, maybe not. Like you cannot just say JPY and CHF will just start acting strong from here, especially on other names. I think what is true to its nature, to the core, is USD weakness, and that's what we have to focus on. The truth is, USD weakness is legit true right now. JPY CHF, I'm not personally very confident about it. I can explain my reasoning in when we go through some of the charts, but will I go in this video? I'm not sure. Like it depends how long the video goes. Anyway, let's start with DXY. I think this is the most important one. And the principle that I will follow is very simple. The problem right now is you had the slow up move and you had a straight dip, right? So whenever that happens, that mostly can, not mostly, sorry, sometimes can mean plain reversal, right? So it can mean, oh, we'll reverse from it. I don't think it would be very easy with this kind of red candle. And for me, I will be careful with the on the week during the week. There are three areas of interest. One, two, and then above this. Why above this? Because you see this one has no wick, right? Because this one has no wick, many times what happens is this is your best zone to short. But the reason I'm not confident that it will come here is because this one also has no wick, right? So the most ideal situation for me, which I think can happen, is you get this candle here where it may come in between somewhere here. So that's what I'm thinking. And with that in mind, of course, like if you want to scalp, the first area of interest is here. You may go down. I don't think that it can continue going down from here. Like, what I mean is, of course, it can continue like this, but from here it cannot, according to me, because this demand is very strong. You see, if you see this, right? So you got this whole big move from this demand. So I don't think these names will act weak right now. I think USD deserves a bounce. Uh, from here, if you want to take some risk, then you have this what you IRL ERL. Basically, it tested a fair value gap, and then you can go down, right? Little bit if you want to scalp. I personally would at least wait for this test. That's my preferred point here, that I at least would want to see what happens here. And that's where I want to see what's the price action here. But the second one is here. And if you, I think it was in this chart or maybe some other name. Yeah, so I think it was in some other name. I'll show it. Yeah, so this one, this here. So this 8 hour uh, has shown some kind of supply that has shown acting like a supply. So I think what can happen is it comes here and then goes down. That's one scenario which I will be watching for. And the second scenario is this and then this, right? So that those two are the scenarios that I would be watching for on DXY. We don't have to go into other futures chart today because, as I said, mostly are USD names. So in my list, I have those. Uh, as I said, with JPY and CHF, I don't like them so much as one reason is I believe according if you really think about monthly trends, CHF should be the one showing strength, but it was JPY instead. I mean, yes, CHF followed, but JPY was the main one. And let's take one example of odd JPY, right? So if you see odd JPY or odd CHF, CHF may be better, right? So these are risk off currencies, right? CHF and JPY. So just example sake, I'm saying, I'll give you two, three examples that right now, if we gap down, that's a very different thing. But right now you have this demand where it's if if I want to short here, I would rather want to see this down move because I don't think it's gonna do that. I think it may come here, then like this, or it may come here and then like this, right? So I think that's why, like, I don't believe this is a legit down move or start of down move. Yes, because JPY has shown strength. Maybe it is, but I believe instead what will happen is CHF will push JPY also to the upside. And the second thing is, if you look at daily chart, right? All JPY or CHF, like look at this. This is in demand, right? The strongest currency is I'm just undoing because instead of deleting these. But let's say GBPJPY, for example, right? So this one had this pattern. And now it's here, so it should go here before coming here or continuing upside. So before I even go into this, I want to explain this pattern because this is one of the most important patterns. Let me show you. So one of the most important patterns is, let's say, this example, say upside, right? Is something goes here and then, ah, wait, what did I don't know what happened, but let's say this. It made this higher high, and there's this demand here. It comes down, break this. Now this has made lower low, so yes, so it definitely should bounce to make a lower high, or maybe it just according to the trend breaks the high. But this here means that this is not the area to short, right? So basically I'm saying like this pattern is everywhere on every chart on GBP JPY, and if you have that experience, intuition, this should this seems like a weird downward. It's tough to explain why it's weird because it's part of intuition, but I think it should go up, right? The point being, like, the other way to see it is there's this huge fair value gap which showed this big move, so I would expect the same, right? Similarly, GBPCHF, if you look at it, this is the one I shared on Twitter also. This is weekly time frame, right? So I don't think it would be easy to break this. And now you basically took liquidity from weekly low and maybe just goes up, right? So I'm not feeling very confident that CHF, this move down to CHF and JPY would continue this week unless it gives a strong bounce. So those, and you can look at others chart, but I don't want to dive in too much into that. For that reason, something that is definitely following the trend on monthly and weekly and daily is USD JPY. So we'll start with that. So on USD JPY, uh, the thing is, you see all these boxes, it has been really confusing for me. The reason is there are multiple medium quality supplies here, right? So as I said, I would like to see the same pattern as I showed on DXY, that it comes here and goes down. So here there are two zones which are very nice, but the problem is, like, let me delete it a little bit and I will undo it. But let's say you understand supply demand, so you say, okay, this is a supply where it got rejected from. Then you will be like, okay, but this supply got rejected from this supply. So you have a level on top of level. Now the problem in these cases are, like, you really cannot tell where it comes down from. But I personally take the top one just because risk to reward, right? It has better risk to reward. So what I will do in this case is I will try to see what's the price action in this zone. But my major preference is this candle here, because this candle matches with weekly low. It also covers this, because on weekly, this whole thing is a supply, and if you with a long upper wick, so to go down would be tough. Instead, a big bounce can happen before going down. So I would just suggest waiting for that big bounce. Uh, if you saw the news, I didn't turn on the orange folder news, but JPY CPI I think is on Thursday, like Tokyo CPI. So maybe that would be the one which provides that action. But before that, what I will try to wait for is price action coming in this candle. This candle. If it comes in this candle, that's where it's a high probability move. All right. So that's USD JPY. My plan here is I will look for this candle. I would hope why this mark is there, that this candle made a higher high. So I would hope this high stays intact. But even if it doesn't, my stop loss ideally would be here. So that's what I think. And my drawn liquidity, what will, if I'm right about this, this will form equal lows. So I think that would be the drawn liquidity. Also to mention, thank God I have this marked so that I don't forget these points. Previously, when you were going up, you rejected here, right? So this area has the most confluence, resistance, supply, uh, weekly supply. So this area has a lot of confluence, so that's where my interest is. Let's go to GBP USD. In GBP USD, there are two areas that I'm really interested in. One is obviously this has formed a beautiful, beautiful daily demand. And it's a very beautiful demand because it's just below this monthly high here, right? It's just below that monthly high. So this demand, I think what can happen is this. If there is any weak, any strength on or basically choppiness, then what I like is this one here because it has already proven that this will work. So, and typically, what I do in these cases is I will, let's say, take this here or here, and my stop loss would be here so that I'm covering both. Yes, right now you see this 2 RR, right? But maybe it, not maybe, most probably it will continue and you will get that 3 RR. So that's what I will typically do. I do think the probability of it coming further down is very less, at least at the start of the week. I don't think it would be that easy, but I, as I said, USD can really bounce hard to just, you know, what should I say? Basically, a dead cat bounce at least, and I would like to enter when we test that weekly uh, low at least on DXY. Before that, yes, you may get this move, but I would not be surprised to see something like this before going up. So to have a better risk to reward, I think entry here maximum, but stop loss should be at least still here, right? So that's what I think on GBP USD. Let's go to Euro USD. Similar on Euro USD. The good thing about Euro USD is I like this chart a lot because it has clear drawn liquidity, equal highs here, right? But again, this big candle is coming after this multiple candles of red, and out of these, two candles were down close candles, right? So just you cannot just go straight up, right? So what I would like to see is, oh, that it comes below this. I don't think it will. I don't think it will. So what it must do is something like this. That's what I would like to see. What is interesting on this is it has already shown that this demand is perfect. Yes, it has formed this area also, but again, we are going with the theme, right? So here, my perfect demand is this one here. So I think this one is good. Yes, it can bounce from here, but if you want like a legit good move, it will happen after testing this area, in my opinion. That at least, and the benefit of waiting for this area is this area is below this weekly high also, right? So I think you need some uh in these cases when the safest option always is this area. That's the most like the safest option. In these areas, what you can do is you have to wait to see that it has proven, and here it has proven that it can be held. Instead, from here, it made this higher high also, and that's why I think this can still hold. Or if you want to consider the whole candle, it would be this candle, and this can still hold. I personally like this more, just because I do think that GBP USD is more stronger. So Euro USD may pull back more than GBP USD, at least right now. Let's go to USD CHF. So USD CHF, if you see, I'm almost saying the same thing everywhere. Why? Because USD is the common name, so the patterns are common, which is basically before coming down here, there are a bunch of supplies, right? It formed. So here also what you have is either you can short here, right? So here again you have a level on top of level one, two, right? So in this case, I do think I would like this area again to just improve my risk to reward. So I would wait for that area. I would start watching the price action here. And what will happen when it comes here, guys? Right? So what there are two ways to trade it. One is you blindly wait for this, right? But that doesn't mean just because you have planned it, and this applies to every chart. That doesn't mean just because you have planned it, it will work that way. So the second plan would be, is this 8 hour or 12 hour? Let's say any hour, doesn't matter honestly, but let's say 4 hour. Like, this is a great supply. This is just amazing supply. So if you want to start scalping, this would be first zone. But what I usually like to, because I like to swing trade, so what I would love to see is price action coming here, going up, coming down, forming a supply here, then we do this, right? The one thing I would say is all the areas where I've mentioned, oh, these areas I would like. If let's say this is my area, right? And if it doesn't come here, which I would not be surprised, so let me just so according to me, this is the perfect area if it comes above this. Let's say it doesn't come above that and it does this. Please don't hold, like you can hold for near this area, but don't hold for like ultimate, oh, let's bring it down till. That's all I would suggest, because the best area where my confidence would be higher is above this. But one part of the plan is also it can come here, where I would like to see price coming here, testing this, coming below, forming a supply, and you see this. So these four are the most important ones, in my opinion, where the trend is damn clear, damn clear. I have other names which I may post on the Twitter account depending, on the because NZD is has the news, right? So it will. I want to see how the price action develops. Few things I want to mention. But just before I do that, let me just complete this gold also. I really love this chart because the reason I love this chart is I think this weekly candle, right? So that's a pattern everywhere. So for scalp, I think this one is beautiful. Why I love is this, whenever these kind of demand forms, like they're damn beautiful. So I think you can do something like this. The only downside is about this one in particular is I typically like to, so what has happened is it has formed this demand here, right? So this weekly demand. So I typically like to wait if it can, let's say, template weekly level. So if it can come below this, I couldn't, let me see if I can find it right now. There is any, yeah, I couldn't find any demand there as such. So I wasn't like very keen on that. But all I'm saying is, I think this should be held, and we can either make a higher high or lower high. But this is my first region where I would be damn interested. The second true region where I would like is, I have a feeling that may not happen, is again the same pattern that it comes below this, forms this demand, and we do something like this. Why this? Because now you have tested that weekly level, which I really like, right? So I personally would wait for that, but keep your eyes open for this one too. And why are the windows changing? Why I say this one? Because not only you have this very clean 8 hours demand, but also it has this daily demand, potential demand, right? So there's too much confluence here. So you will at least get some bounce in my opinion. And the up move is happening from fair value gap, right? So some bounce is possible, but if it has tested this area, uh, doing this for that reason, then the probability reduces, guys. So for me, I would wait for the lower area, which I typically do, unless the price action is very clear, just for better risk reward. The same logic you can apply for this XEU USD. It follows a chart. One thing I would like to mention is it's end of the month, and sometimes these are the best charts to play end of the month. The ones which have just tested monthly and just bounced. So basically that means that the possibility of breaking this high becomes very high. I typically don't like to trade gold, and the reason just is because I've seen sometimes it's very tough to read gold for me personally, as a swing trader. For scalping, it is not that tough, but for swinging, it becomes tough for me personally. I've seen people doing really well with that. So yeah, in terms of gold, coming back to it, I would love for gold. My best area is this here, this demand. If it can come in this, I don't think it would, because because it has shown that this weekly fair value gap can be held. So the probability of it coming below this is becomes low. So max, I think what it can do is test this, come back to this fair value gap and go up. So that's what I'm thinking about gold, to be honest. Yeah, so that's kind of it. One trade I wanted to share was I think I'm all right. I am in GBPCHF. I I already shared at the start of the videos. I think we can, if you see 8 hour here, it's bouncing from this demand really well and has clear drawn liquidity. I have shared this on the Twitter account. If you get an entry here somewhere, I think this is one of the clean charts which can happen. The next one in particular, this was, yeah. So NZD USD, just because it has such an important news, I want to share it. I think one thing I would share is between odd USD and NZD USD, not only, I think NZD USD is the clear winner, at least according to the monthly trend and weekly trend. So I think this should really work. The second good thing is it has equal highs here, almost equal highs. So I think it should really work. So from here, what I think about NZD USD is just because it has rate statement, I personally would like to wait for that rate statement, because sometimes it can create massive new moves. But I really would like to see if it's possible. Again, the same logic as Euro USD, where it had multiple down close candles, but this one has multiple red candles. So this is much better than Euro USD in terms of weekly. So again, what can happen is I would like at least price action to test this level. Why this level? This is like a weekly demand, so I think it should. And now if we go to 12 hour, look at this big move, right? So what I would like to see is price coming here and then we bounce. That's what I would like to see. For this, I typically what I do is I look at other NZD pairs or odd pairs to just increase my probability, which I will post on Twitter if I see something interesting. Keep an eye for that to just raise my probability. But I would like to see if you're like the problem again, right? So if you see this, you're in this zone, but if you go lower, this is the best zone. So I would think it should cause this move down, right? Now, with this strong move, I would not be surprised that let me delete this. I would not be surprised that price just holds here, because this is a very clean here, as in this zone, this is a very clean daily demand, very clean daily demand. It's not the only downside about this demand is like this whole big red candle. So if you want to buy somewhere here or here, I would want to see the price action because this is where it needs to chop around a little bit to continue. It cannot just do like this very easily, especially when NZD news is also on Tuesday, I think. Yeah, Tuesday. So that's what I would like to see. But if you ask me, oh, can you blindly trade it, like set a limit order and forget? I would stay away from that in a chart where rate statement is happening. But if you still ask me, I would try to do this one. And the reason is this one has weekly level. This zone created this massive move. Ideally, I would have felt more confident if I found a very clean demand in there. I didn't. Uh, so I didn't. So I wouldn't say, oh, this is the zone and let's go for it. But I would like to see price coming down, either chopping around in this area, and if it comes down here with some other signals, let's say DXY is also doing that. Let's say, yeah, mainly DXY, or let's say, I don't know, like some other thing, right? One thing I will show. I right now think that the probability of NZD being strong is good. One of the reason is also if you see GBP NZD chart, you are in the zone. It has not closed above uh, any area, especially when it bounced from a weekly zone. So if it would have closed, I would have said, oh, this should work. So and there it has formed a clear supply here. So I would not short GBP NZD, don't get me wrong. What I will do is if it comes in this zone, that's where I will focus on NZDUSD, if that makes sense. If it doesn't, feel free to ask either on comment section or on Twitter. I'm always ready to help. Um, yeah, that's mostly it. There are other names, like a lot of names, because the singers are just so many. But I was trying to filter out the noise for you guys. Having said that, sometimes the chart action is so clean during the week that I have to share, which I will do. But that's it for this week, guys. Just few pointers. Please focus on USD more than anything, USD weakness. Yes, the start of the week or first, not half, but first 2 days, let's say half also, because it may happen, they may stretch it out because of PCE coming. So Wednesday is FOMC, right? So, and that is also 2 p.m. news, right? So I would not be surprised the main USD move happens on Wednesday, or most ideal situation is if you don't see much of USD weakness on Wednesday, or I should say like start of Wednesday. That means, oh, most probably they're doing it after Wednesday FOMC, which is like in so basically Thursday session or like Wednesday PM session, PM or Asians session, New Zealand session, whatever. Point being, I think the main move will be after Wednesday or end of day Wednesday after FOMC, and that's where the main move would be. I would personally just love to see a great bounce on USD names like DXY, I should say, and then get a great signal on first priority for me is GBP USD. I think that's the most important one for me. And then I think like the second important one would be USDJPY. Now remember one combination that JPY news is coming right on, I think it's Thursday, I think. But point being like after FOMC. So that combination of news also helps, right? So yeah, I would just suggest that if you want to look at DXY strength, be patient. It's not worth it to short after a red candle. unless you see a second holding red candle. So ideally, you should just wait for this week to see, oh, does this candle come here or here, and accordingly play. But if you don't want to do that, then the zones I mentioned are just perfect. So that's the only thing I would say is like there's an argument that this is a demand where all this big move happened. So why can't we just go up from here? Because this short doesn't help so much. But because this short is according to the monthly trend and according to the weekly trend, that's why I'm favoring it. The second thing I wanted to show is look at this candle, right? This is still being formed. Temporarily, let me delete this. So this is still being formed. The probability when you have these, yes, you can have, I saw a bottoming candle, basically this and this candle, and the bigger the body, sorry, the probability of body becoming bigger always reduces. It's always less. So don't expect price to come here this week because this is the last week for this month. So please do not expect it. Yes, you can expect this candle, right? But so anytime you go up, this will look like a green candle, uh, which again has low probability. So most probably whatever move up is a manipulation, and again a bottoming candle can form, in my opinion. I hope guys this made sense. I hope these videos help. I'm here for you guys. Yes, sometimes I make mistakes too, and I do apologize for that. But again, mostly our bias is correct, mostly our execution is correct. So mistakes are part of trading world, and I try my best to point out any good trends during the week. So feel free to follow me there also. But if you want me to discuss anything other than this, feel free to comment. Always here to help, guys. Have a great trading week. All the best. Stay safe.